We've always looked up, haven't we? Long before rockets, long before science, the stars whispered to us. They were gods, they were guides, they were stories. And then, one day, we reached them. This is the story of space exploration, of how humanity, fragile yet curious, broke free from Earth's grip, and why we keep reaching farther. It all began in fear. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, a small, beeping metal sphere, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. To the world below, it was just 184 pounds of metal. To the United States, it was a warning. The space race had begun. A few years later, in 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human to leave the planet. Just 108 minutes in space, but he returned a hero, not just for the Soviets, but for all humankind. Not to be outdone, the United States made a bold promise. President John F. Kennedy said, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." And in 1969, it happened. Neil Armstrong stepped off the lunar module and said the words that would echo through history. "You cannot make me wrong. You cannot make me. You cannot make me." That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. After the moon landings, a curious thing occurred, didn't it? People seemed to lose interest, almost overnight. NASA's final Apollo missions, they were met with shrinking audiences and fading headlines. The Cold War's urgency, well, it dimmed, budgets tightened, and the focus, it shifted elsewhere. But the story, it didn't stop there, not at all. In the 1980s, a new era emerged, the space shuttle, reusable spacecraft, quite an idea ahead of its time. It allowed astronauts to live and work in space for days, even weeks on end. Then came the International Space Station, a grand collaboration between nations, once divided by politics and war. Above us, Russians, Americans, Europeans, and more, floating together in a laboratory that orbits Earth every 90 minutes. We built something permanent in space, not to conquer, you see, but to cooperate. As human missions slowed, machines, they stepped into our roles, didn't they? Rovers rolled across the very surface of Mars, yes. Voyagers sailed beyond the edge of our solar system. And telescopes, they peered deeper into the void than we ever even imagined. Back in 2004, NASA's Spirit and Opportunity rovers, they touched down on Mars. They were expected to last 90 days, you see. Opportunity? Well, it lasted 15 years. It sent back images of sunsets, dust storms, and, most importantly, hints of ancient water. Then came curiosity, and then perseverance, each more advanced than the last. We may not have walked on Mars, perhaps, but our eyes, wheels, and software already have. Space, you see, was once the domain of governments alone. Now, it belongs to dreamers. It does. SpaceX, Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, private companies that took up the torch and ran with it. In 2020, SpaceX launched the first commercially built spacecraft to carry astronauts to the ISS. Elon Musk's vision isn't just Mars. No, it's colonization itself. Jeff Bezos speaks of moving heavy industry off Earth, to preserve its beauty. Private spaceflight turned science fiction into science strategy. Reusable rockets, autonomous landings, live-streamed missions with millions watching on. It's faster, certainly. Riskier, without a doubt. But undeniably, truly inspiring. And, life is program. Why do we explore space, you ask? Is it survival, perhaps? Maybe. After all, an asteroid did wipe out the dinosaurs. It could happen again, couldn't it? Is it resources then? Possibly. Asteroids hold more metal than Earth's richest mines, And the moon might one day fuel fusion reactors. But the real reason? It's older, deeper. We're explorers, aren't we? It's in our very nature. To cross oceans, vast and wide. Climb mountains, reaching for the sky. Ask questions no one has answers to. Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the universe to know itself." When we explore space, we're not just escaping Earth. We're understanding ourselves. Indeed. We are returning to the moon. NASA's Artemis program plans to land the first woman and the next man on the moon, not just to plant flags, but to build the very foundations of a lunar base. And from there, Mars. A 6-month journey, you see. A hostile planet, radiation, isolation, dust storms. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But so did walking on the moon once upon a time. AI will be our scout. Robots will build, and eventually, humans will follow. Not just to visit, no, but to stay. And beyond that, well, who knows? Europa, a moon of Jupiter, may have an ocean beneath its ice. Imagine that. Titan, Saturn's moon, has rivers of methane. Even Proxima Centauri, just 4.2 light-years away, has an Earth-like planet. They are distant, yes, but not unreachable. Not forever. Every age, every generation has its own frontier, doesn't it? For some, it were the boundless ocean, vast and deep. For others, it were the endless sky above. But for us, it'd be the stars themselves. We're building telescopes, see, that can peer back to the very beginning of time. We're learning how life might flourish in forms we've never even dreamed of. We're rewriting what it means to be human. Not just where we live, but what we reach for. Space ain't just a place, no. It's a way of thinking, a refusal to accept the limits, a challenge to always be asking, what's next, then? The sky, well, It isn't the limit, you see. It's merely the beginning. We explore, not because it's easy, no, but because it's, well, who we are. From firelight to starlight, from caves to colonies, from questions to galaxies. This is the human story, a story written in stardust. And it's only just begun.